Now, if you're going to commit what the government views as a felony, it would probably be a good idea to film that felony and post it on social media.
Said no sane person ever.
And I'm probably going to incur the ire of a lot of people, including people in my audience. But let me just say right off the bat that if these kids' brains were dynamite, they wouldn't have enough in their heads to blow their nose. The question is, did they harm anybody? Did they threaten to harm anybody? Did they damage somebody's property and not pay for it? That's the question. What we have here is 8 of these kids were arrested in North Texas for something called a Glock switch takedown. They were selling a piece of plastic that converted a regular Glock handgun into a machine style gun where you can fire rapidly. But again, the question is, did they create a victim? And don't we have something in this country called the supreme law of the land, which includes the Second Amendment? Let's just take a look at this story and let's look at it through the eyes of liberty, not through the eyes of propagandized tyranny.
Irving police, with help from local and federal authorities, arrested 8 young people for buying and selling illegal gun modifications.
The group is accused of obtaining so-called Glock switches from China and then using social media to show them off and to sell modified weapons. These arrests are tied to a larger operation to get these illegal switches off the streets. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager live in Irving with the story.
So the government / law enforcement side of this is, hey, we got to keep the general public safe by keeping these prohibited items off the streets. So the safety of the people is the alibi of tyrants. But the question is, again, has a real crime been committed? Was there somebody who was actually victimized, defrauded, stolen from, property damaged, harmed?
Heather, this investigation began back in September. Irving detectives learned that one of the suspects was staying in Irving, and then they learned this group had an operation spanning across North Texas, from Fort Worth to Arlington to Seagoville.
An operation?
This group had an operation.
But is an operation that's interfering with people's rights. Like, the NSA has an operation. TSA has an operation. The Department of Homeland Security has an operation. The FBI and the ATF, they have operations all the time, breaking in people's doors, actually violating people's rights. Is local law enforcement doing anything about those operations that are actually harming people, threatening people, taking property away? How about civil asset forfeiture? Are the law enforcement agents concerned at all with that? No, we got people like Sheriff Jim Skinner writing this long report begging politicians to keep civil asset forfeiture in place because that's where we get the lion's share of our money, man.
8 people ranging in ages from 17 to 22 now face federal and state charges after Irving police say they were illegally distributing machine gun conversion devices.
There it is. Right there. Illegally distributing machine gun conversion devices. So they're going to go to jail, some of them for a long, long time, for trading in a piece of plastic. If you're not free to trade plastic on the open market with people who are consensual adults voluntarily entering into a business transaction, can you really say this is the land of the free, home of the brave? But wait, there's more.
Known as Glock switches. Glock switches can allow firearms to mimic fully automated weapons. For example, an Irving police officer,
watch this again,
demonstrates the danger of these illegal but easily obtainable switches.
Danger? But you can say the handgun in and of itself without the switch is dangerous. So if you're going to protect us from danger, shouldn't you ban cigarettes? Shouldn't you ban alcohol? Shouldn't you ban handguns? They can actually hurt people. This is just another way for federal, local, and state authorities to further put their foot in the door so they can take even more liberties from you.
Our investigators found a distribution site on social media.
Officer Anthony Alexander is talking about these posts on Instagram. Dozens of switches advertised for sale by 17-year-olds, according to police. Firearms were also pictured. Plus,
now, granted, their wheel is spinning. But the hamster's been dead for a long, long time. If the government considers it a felony, you are a dumb arse by posting that on social media. So nobody's saying these kids are smart, but have they committed a crime by trading in a piece of plastic that they're buying from China and selling to people in the United States?
These are screenshots from an October music video uploaded online showing who police say is 17-year-old Caden Martinez holding multiple weapons.
Caden, dude, what the frick are you doing? You know it's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. You didn't do I got to be super careful because this isn't legal advice, okay? But we are talking about a piece of plastic, trading it with other people who want to give you dollar bills for that piece of plastic. Where was the wrong done? Where was the harm committed? I'm not saying anybody should or shouldn't do things, but maybe one thing we should do is look at individuals through the eyes of at least the Second Amendment, at least the Fourth Amendment, at least the First Amendment. Don't you have the right to practice your religion freely without interference, without infringement? Don't you have the right to say whatever you want to say as long as you're not harming somebody? Don't you have the right to keep and bear arms? Don't you have the right to be secure in your person? How is this move against these kids for selling a piece of China-made plastic, how is this consistent with the Fourth Amendment right to be secure in your person, or the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed? How is this not an infringement?
Investigators say the group purchased the switches from China and had them shipped to North Texas.
That's why we're seeing an influx.
Purchased from China and shipped to North Texas. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the free market principles at work here? I mean, think about it. They got this stuff from China. China is highly regulated. You will struggle to find a more gun-controlled, which is really people-controlled, atmosphere on this entire planet. And yet these kids somehow found a producer and a seller in gun-restricted China to have them ship that product to Texas so that they can engage in free market operations. In one sense, you got to step back and appreciate the entrepreneurial spirit here.
Of them on the street. I mean, it's almost as easy as ordering a package from Amazon.
Irving police, posing as buyers, caught the suspects making the transactions.
Let's just go back to this. This is what they're going to do hard time for in some penitentiary somewhere.
The suspects making
that piece of plastic right here. They're going to go to jail for that piece of plastic. How is that justice? Who did they harm? Who did they threaten? Who did they defraud? We have banksters who have been given billions, trillions of dollars by the U.S. government because of their fraudulent schemes, and yet not one of them went to jail. We have political parasites actually making laws, creating a situation where we actually get embroiled in wars where a lot of people die and a lot of money is spent and wasted. They don't go to jail. We have CIA operations and drug planes and spying programs, but they don't go to jail. But somehow 8 kids who found a way to buy a piece of plastic in China and sell it in Texas, they're going to go to jail for years. I think we don't have a justice system here. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section.
Police posing as buyers caught the suspects making the transactions. Since September, police recovered nearly 40 switches and 4 firearms sold through social media. Multiple departments, including Arlington PD, Fort Worth PD, Dallas PD, Garland PD, along with ATF and Homeland Security, helped arrest all 8 last week.
That is a lot of resources deployed to apprehend 8 young people who are trafficking in a piece of plastic. While we have a serious fentanyl crisis, everybody's all got their panties in a bunch about what's going on in the border and immigrants coming in and oh my God. And then we got the banksters and 12 different agencies across the United States hyperinflating the currency and basically stealing the time and laboring energies of every single American. But they're going to deploy all these resources to go after 8 kids trafficking in China-made plastic. What the frick is going on here?
More switches, weapons, drugs, and money were found while executing search warrants.
We were only able to buy so many, so I would imagine that some unfortunately did make it out onto the street. So this is still a problem that's ongoing.
The fake outrage. Do you want to know about a problem that's ongoing? We still have departments, alphabet soup agency departments like the ATF, the FBI, the CIA, the DEA, wreaking havoc on Americans all across the world. We got FISA courts illegally spying against the Constitution on Americans on a daily basis. And this is what they're going to focus their attention on.
An 18-year-old out of Haltom City pleaded guilty in federal court a few months ago. He was seen on social media randomly opening fire out of a moving vehicle using a switch-equipped handgun.
Now that right there is a crime. But selling that piece of plastic, is that a crime? Doing this right here, people could do this with a handgun without a Glock switch. They could be throwing rocks outside the window and it would be just as criminal. Does this up the danger factor a little bit more? Yeah, this is a crime. This guy right here should go to jail for a long, long time, jeopardizing lives in oncoming traffic like that. That is a crime. Selling a piece of plastic, is that a crime? Are you responsible for what somebody else does? What if you sell somebody a coffee mug and they take that coffee mug and they hit somebody over the head? Are you responsible for the death of that person who was hit by the coffee mug that you sold? What if you start trafficking in coffee mugs? See, I see this deploying national resources, probably international resources, I don't know, but deploying federal, state, and local authorities to bring down 8 kids who are trafficking in a piece of plastic, as stupid as if they trafficked in coffee mugs that people were using to beat people over the head with at local airports. It's just an inanimate object. It's as stupid as banning bump stocks. It's as stupid as banning what they call high capacity magazines, which is really standard capacity. They just say high capacity to make it sound more scary. It's as dumb as banning AR-15s or AK-47s or military grade assault rifles, they call it. Because when you ban something, you're actually criminalizing somebody who possesses that thing, whether they're innocent or guilty. And most of them, 99.9% of Americans who are gun owners who own AR-15s or standard capacity magazines or Glock switches, for goodness sake, are innocent. They would call themselves law-abiding. I wouldn't call myself law-abiding. That's kind of silly. Law-abiding? Do you obey all the laws? Because a lot of them out there are evil, so you're an evil abider. But the point is, banning an inanimate object equals criminalizing a living, breathing man or woman on earth. Who's got the right to do that? No one. Yeah, this right here is a crime. Selling a piece of plastic, and not so much. Does it mean that I think these kids are smart? No. Their blender's running. The lid is off. Dumb.
Please cover the blender.
You know the government views that as a felony. Why are you posting it on social media? What do you expect to happen?
Are you stupid or something?
Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. This right here is a crime. Selling a piece of plastic. You let me know what you think.
His conviction was part of the statewide federal initiative called Operation Texas Kill Switch. Irving Police launched its own very similar initiative.
Why don't they launch Operation Bring Down NSA? Operation Get Rid of the CIA. Operation No FBI. You don't get to kick down people's doors at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for a bag of weed.
Based off this group of suspects. They called it Operation Real Switch. And if these suspects are convicted, they could face up to 10 years in a federal prison. Since Irving Police has posted about this Operation Real Switch, they have received tips from the public of other people in the area engaging in the same activity. So that investigation is ongoing.
Oh, so we got public snitches on people selling switches. So with all the evil, the truly evil things going on in this world and the evil people perpetrating this evil, they're going to go after kids. They're going to launch they're going to deploy major resources. And don't tell them how many millions they spent in this sting operation, bringing these 8 kids down for selling a piece of plastic. Don't we have bigger problems? Don't we have bigger fish to fry? We do have something called the Second Amendment. And the last 4 words of this 27-word amendment are shall not be infringed. Going after plastic traffickers sure looks like an infringement to me. What do you think? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Also subscribe to my political channel called The Disturbing Illusion, where we expose the left versus right paradigm lie going on under the dog and pony show, Big Top, called Washington's District of Criminals. And I will see you in the next video.